this devil, Esau, been revealed. And like everything else though, the least of the flock, Amalek, is using it as blackmail. The truth is coming out via these Epstein files, which Epstein is a mirror image of Edomites in the highest, but yet all Edomites wish they could be like Epstein. And sadly, 2/3 of our people want to be like Epstein. You know, they admire P. Diddy, which is kindergarten as compared to Esau, but yet they envy Esau. They want the things that Esau has. They want to be able to do the things that Esau has, you know. And so, you know, the hypocrisy of it, but yet it's being revealed how bad these people are. They can't just, you know, shun you when you say that these people are pedophiles, these people are, you know, terrorists. You know, they all they ever do is scheme, you know. You know, you try to reveal that to your family or whatever, you get shunned, and yet it's now out there. You know, it's all coming out, the things that we've been talking about. Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And shout out to Yakins out there in four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Barakatam. So here it comes, you know, more about, you know, the Israeli state, Amalek, which is why Trump is pushing for war, because Amalek wants it. King Bibi has ordered it, unless he wants the files to come out, because you are finding out that, yeah, the Israeli state spies on those in power. Duh.
Well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have an outright confirmation that Israel was the side installing the cameras in the Epstein apartments. How long have we been talking about this? The Israeli government installed and maintained security systems at the Epstein apartment. They're saying Epstein apartment, it's the apartments and in the island too. Who controls the Epstein files? Israel. Why isn't this mainstream headlines? Why isn't it plastered everywhere? Israel controlled the cameras. They're the ones behind Epstein. Oh, no. The chosen ones, they can't do that, can they? So, I mean, this clarifies everything. But the interesting thing, or the interesting, you know, argument is, why was this just published now? Did someone recently find this out, or did something happen from the United States to try and deflect, because there's inner power fights internally, some who don't want to have war, some who do, some who want to expose Israel as the side behind Epstein? Is there something happening of the sort? What is it exactly? Because it's a big deal. Listen, it's a very big deal. If they go on a war with Iran, it could be completely disastrous for the United States of America. Okay, let's go through the emails, right? Let's go through the emails. Here's one of them. Okay. Neely Priel Barak. Who is Neely Priel Barak, PM? Ehud Barak's wife, the previous Israeli prime minister, who was seen in and out of Epstein, and that he had an apartment of his own. I wonder what he was doing. Jeffrey says he does not mind holes in the walls, and this is all just fine. I don't think it will be a problem to make a call to Rafi before entering. How much advance notice does he need? I will be sure to tell Karina and Tess, as they are the ones that normally go in. All right. Hi, today the technician paid a visit to the apartment concerning the alarm system. We have persuaded him not to have any cables at all. He will put, I repeat, put near the TV 2 devices, keypad, which will connect to the electricity, and the router, as the TV cables do. Then there will be 6 sensors stick to the windows. They can neutralize the systems from far before you need somebody to enter the apartment. The only thing you need to do is call Rafi. Call Rafi from the consulate also. And let him know who and when is entering, and he will neutralize it for the time necessary. Is it okay? Have you any questions? Would you like to talk with the technician, with Rafi? Neely, the wife of the previous Prime Minister of Israel, who had an apartment in the Epstein block in Manhattan. Ah, this is really satisfying. Finally seeing that confirmation, that piece of evidence. Epstein was an Israeli spy. Whether he was a front spy, access agent, whatever you want to call it. He wanted to have access to blackmail people. He had an Israeli team linked with the Israeli consulate and the previous Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, who actually went to the apartment to install the cameras in the walls. And they did it. And they did it, guys. Israel is behind the Epstein operation in full. What do the Zionists have to say about this? Oh, in the job, I happened to be this Rafi guy, he was really talented in installing cameras. He happened to also work for the Israeli consulate in the United States, and he knew the previous Israeli Prime Minister. I mean, he was an ex-Prime Minister anyway. And his wife was dealing with the cameras just to have access and remote access, and, so what? Oh, my goodness. So why was this released today? Firstly, someone say that Israel is fully behind the Epstein operation. Someone tell us that. Say it. Let it be known to the whole world. Israel was behind the Epstein operation. Why aren't you not saying Israel? They're saying Russia.
Yep.
Epstein tells you about the Rothschilds and Ehud Barak, and now we have cameras over there, and the Israeli government installed and maintained the security systems. The previous Prime Minister's wife was dealing with them. Oh my. And they'll tell you Putin.
Well, you see where this is going, right? King Bibi, holds Trump, And so here it goes, marching into war. U.S. Supreme Court rules Trump global tariffs illegal. The ruling deals major blow to Trump's economic agenda. Well, he'll have some new ones. U.S. Supreme Court ruled on the 20th of February that President Trump violated federal laws by imposing sweeping tariffs against countries around the world. The use of threat of tariffs became central to the U.S. President's foreign and economic policies. So, like everything else, we got that video as well, so I'll play that. But that's not going to stop Donald Trump. He's got a backup plan.
Back to our top story now. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled Donald Trump's sweeping so-called reciprocal tariffs against other states are unconstitutional. The judges determined the president exceeded his power by imposing tariffs without congressional approval. Let's discuss this now live with founder of Armstrong Economics, Martin Armstrong. Martin, great to have you on the program with us. So what is next now for both Trump and the Supreme Court? Is this decision final, or can Trump appeal it?
No, it is final. He's just going to try to use different statutes and make it a duty rather than a tariff. That will slow things down dramatically, but the statute that he was using clearly does not allow for tariffs, and he was trying to impose a tariff on top of what Congress does. So he wasn't trying to alter Congress's authority. He was just trying to put something on top of it. And that was what was stricken down. I mean, the statute clearly does not include tariffs.
So the Trump administration has already collected some $130 billion in tariffs. Does this money need to be refunded now? And if so, how is that even possible?
It's going to be very difficult. I mean, they're going to try to convert it into duties rather than to refund money, but it's obviously a problem. And I believe that they knew this was coming. I mean, I've studied law. I mean, I think anybody that really did knew that this was going to be the result. So, I mean, it was just plainly not in the statute to allow him to do it. And I'm not exactly sure who in his administration told him to give this a try.
Is this likely to have any impact on the U.S. economy and trade policy in general?
I think psychologically, yes. I think it's going to make Trump appear weaker as far as in any negotiation on trade, etc. And it's I think it's much more dangerous. I think this was a really an extreme attempt to take that statute, and I'm not sure who really advised him to do it, because as I said, anybody that knows law, it looked like it was going to fail.
And like everything else, though, after the failed attempt there, well, back at it. Trump announces new global tariff after losing in Supreme Court. Justices ruled that most of the American president's earlier tariffs were unconstitutional. Donald Trump announced a new 10% global tariff after the Supreme Court struck down most of the earlier tariffs implemented. In a 6-3 decision on Friday, the highest court ruled the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not give Trump the authority to impose what he described as reciprocal tariffs against every country. Trump responded by vowing to sign an executive order on Friday using another piece of legislation, the Trade Act of 1974, to impose additional tariffs. So, like everything else, though, Trump denounced the terrible court ruling, stating that all the tariffs remain in full force and effect. He labeled the judges who ruled against him very unpatriotic and disloyal to the Constitution. So, like everything else, though, it doesn't mean anything. How Saudi Arabia plans to reshape West Asia. So, like everything else, though, a lot of pushback here, and they are looking to deal with their Arab states more so than the Israeli state. The Saudi pushback against domination by Israeli state and the United Arab Emirates is a major strategic move. So, like everything else, though, they're looking to work closer with Turkey, which is a part of BRICS, as well as Iran, which is a part of BRICS. Those are BRICS members, and we know Saudi Arabia definitely is. When you allow people to speak their minds in West Asia, a very different view emerges of Israeli state and the Western consensus it represents. Normalization or indeed membership of U.S. President Trump's Board of Peace turns out to be lip gloss spread all too thinly over a regional mood of anger and humiliation at what Israeli state is being allowed to get away with. So Saudi Arabia is strongly against the new Board of Peace. And so they are shifting more to be allied with Turkey, which we said Turkey a long time ago would actually be on the side of Russia, and that Russia would be a guard unto them. So you can definitely see, though, that this is all forming. You know, we are so close on this. All these nations being gathered into the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Never before had such direct language been used in Saudi Arabia about the United Arab Emirates. President Mohammed bin Zayed, who more for than a decade had acted as the kingdom's brother in arms in crushing the Arab Spring in Yemen, Egypt, Libya, and Tunisia, and Syria. So, like everything else, though, now they are looking to deal differently, right? We'll play some of this here.
Are you an anti-Semite?
I am a Semite. What we have been watching Abu Dhabi doing in many Arab countries, they were really, as I call them, the Trojan horse of the Israeli ambitions.
How far will this split go?
Yeah, because of course Ishmael is a Shemite.
It's this feeling of jealousy. This was definitely one of the main reasons behind bin Zayed's attempts to destroy Saudi Arabia. After the genocide in Gaza, the whole world, not only Saudi Arabia, the whole world, saw how vicious, how inhumane, and how catastrophic the Israeli government is. The extremists who are ruling Israel now are not worthy of any cooperation, and they could never be trusted. Israel, briefly, is a threat to humanity, it's a threat to Judaism, it's a threat to Jews, and definitely it is a threat to the region and to the Arab world. It's really ironic that those whose hands are stained with blood, the blood of Palestinians in Gaza, are the ones who are invited now to govern Gaza and to find a solution for the Palestinians.
Relations with Hamas have been cut for some time. Will the freeze on relations with Hamas continue, or do you think Riyadh will recalibrate its relations with that group?
Hamas did not come from a planet, another planet. Hamas are Palestinians.
How real is a prospect of the formation of a regional alliance that could limit Israel's ambitions?
If Israel could commit this enormous genocide in Gaza, what would prevent it from repeating it in any other part of the Arab world? Nothing.
Saudi Arabia phoned up Trump to say, give peace a chance, don't attack Iran, because Iran is not like Venezuela.
It was a huge gamble, totally unrealistic, totally reckless, and I think that's why Saudi Arabia threw all its weight to prevent it as much as possible.
So, like everything else, though, they know that it'd be catastrophic. You know, the ambitions to attack Iran, you know, and so, you know, Apostle Tahar has talked about it time and time again, that when you see them going after Iran, all of these states are going to get together, and you're seeing it. You're seeing the formation. U.S. Ambassador Huckabee backs the Israeli state taking all West Asia. U.S. Ambassador Huckabee told Carlson that Israeli state should take it all, referring to biblical borders from the Nile to the Euphrates. Well, we already know this guy's a piece of shit anyways, but what do you expect? What do you expect when the Zionists run Babylon? They ran Babylon a lot longer than they run the Israeli state. So, of course, man, U.S. Ambassador to Israeli state Huckabee said it would be fine if they took it all. In a 2-hour interview with right-wing U.S. commentator Carlson, published on Friday, Huckabee cited Genesis 15, in which the Most High Yahweh promises Abraham land from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates. So that's the Valley of Jehoshaphat right there, as a whole. And that's where he's going to, you know, gather all the nations that plead with him there. You know, it's going to punish all those nations, because that's what plea means when you look at the scriptures. And yet, Amalek, you know, is is right there as the main one, because they're not the real Israelites. Carlson became vocal critic of Israeli state, noted that in modern geographical times, well, he's paid opposition. Basically, the entire Mideast, naming Israeli state, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and large parts of Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. I'm not sure it would go that far, but it would be a good piece of land, Huckabee replied. You know, so like everything else, though, he's pretty much saying that it's okay for the Israeli state to have it all. It all belongs to them, you know, referring to themselves as the Jews, which we know that they're not. We know that these are Zionists, and that's a Zionist policy. This is the synagogue of Satan. That's another nickname for these imposters. Israeli strike kills at least 10, including Hezbollah leader. At least 24 others wounded in the latest attack, including 3 children, as Israeli state continues the violation of the ceasefire, which ceasefires are a joke. Israeli strikes against eastern Lebanon killed at least 10 on Friday, including a Hezbollah military official, and another violation of the ceasefire. Well, nobody holds them accountable, because they run the U.S. government. And you can see very much so, and we already know that this is another thing that Riyadh has done. I read this yesterday, but reiterating. Riyadh seeks to replace the Israeli state with Syria for EU fiber optic cable route, because like everything else, though, the new Syrian government has a lot of purchasing power, and you know that Saudi Arabia definitely has a lot of wealth, and it can benefit Syria, and they're looking to, you know, restore stronger ties. Because like everything else, though, they don't like the West anymore. They have really, even though they'll take the money from the West, sure, but the U.S. dollar is no longer the petrodollar. Saudi Arabia, since it's become a BRICS member, has been dealing in other currencies to where the U.S. is no longer the dominant. They will trade in rubles. They will trade in Chinese yuan, you know, and that takes the U.S. dollar out of its dominance. Saudi Arabia insisted that it be connected to Greece through Syria and not the Israeli state. As previously discussed, underscores how regional alignments are shifting as Riyadh looks to bolster Damascus standing in the region and potentially isolate Israeli state. And I said it before and I'll say it again, you know, for things like this, you know, I think that the Israeli state may actually blow up Damascus, you know, leading to the final hour of the Third World War in the Samson option. You know, I've always looked at that, you know, because like everything else, though, the newly installed government, well, they have their own ambitions. Now, all this is being purposed, but nonetheless, though, Babylon the Great is saberly rattling into Jehoshaphat as this video goes into. We'll play some of this and continue.
Shalom, shalom, this is Kapaya, a.k.a. Pops, out of GMS Chicago with a brief sit down. Before I get started, though, like always, I want to send all praises, honor, and glory out to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakodash. To the apostles and elders of GMS out of New York, the elder bishops out of Connecticut, I want to send double honors because they do rule well. The brethren around the world push this truth uncut off to give you good, the bad, the ugly, the scriptures, correctly breaking down the prophecies, and the interaction with the people on the planet. Send a hearty shalom. But hope this is edifying. But Akwath, if you're in the truth that's listening sincerely, chant to keep doing so. But for scorn and scoff for reprobate, 2/3 Israelites, 17 other nations, one in the midst of Jacob's trouble, it is going to get a whole lot worse. Anyway, what was the question? What kind of armada has Trump sent to the Middle East for the Iran situation? And here was the result. As they say, what we used to say all the time, it's worth a Google. As of February 26th, the U.S. has deployed a significant naval and air armada to the Middle East. And see, this is a question posed, and this another. But you see, their stuff is already over there. And the reason I understand that, know that, is because I was in the Air Force. We had like a sister base over in Saudi, blah, 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 KC-135s, which is the base I was on, the Castle Air Force Base, housed those as well. It's training base, this, that, and other. So we understood how to guard them, and this, that, and other. We had trained on it all the time, so they had no problem. If we wanted to go over to Saudi to get some TDY, they had no problem shipping our ass on there, on one of them transport planes. So they had no problem put us on the back of a B-52 or whatever. But with that being said, we get back to this. Sent on the U.S. Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group to pressure Iran, okay? This force includes over a dozen warships such as guided missile destroyers in the Arabian Sea and Gulf, along with F-35, F-22, and F-16 fighter jets, B-2 bombers, and Patriot THAAD missile defense systems. Key components in the 2026 deployment. Naval power, the U.S. Abraham Lincoln and its Carrier Strike Group, in addition, an additional destroyers stationed in the Strait of Hormuz, Red Sea, and Eastern Mediterranean. A second carrier, the U.S. Gerald Ford, is also moving into the region. That's big when you get two aircraft carriers in the same region and whatnot. Yeah, you're looking to bring major firepower to the table, okay? Naval power, okay, air power. Dozens of F-35s, F-22s, and F-16 fighters, along with refueling tankers, that's that KC-135 I was telling you about, are in place, exactly, already there, with B-2 bombers positioned for potential long-range strikes. Ground defense systems, Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems have been moved into the region to protect U.S. and allied interests. Strategic positioning. Aircraft and surveillance assets are operating from the regional bases in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Jordan, Dago, Gaza. This buildup is a part of a maximum pressure campaign aimed at Iran following heightened tensions. So this is major saber rattling. Just look at it, saber rattling. Saber rattling. Let's see if I can get it to come up this way. Saber rally is the flamboyant or ostentatious, very, very key word, display of military power, such as deploying warships or conducting massive drills as an implied threat that force might be used if demands aren't met. In the current Middle East context, The massive armada sent by the Trump administration is a textbook example. It signals speed and violence to pressure Iran without, as of yet, engaging in direct combat. Key characteristics: posturing. It is a form of aggressive blustering meant to intimidate an adversary. Non-violent initially, the defining feature is that actual violent forces is not yet used. It is meant to compel an opponent to concede or negotiate. Political signal is often served to rally domestic support by projecting strength or to deter the enemy from taking a specific action. Origins and usage. Etymology. The term dates back to the early 20th century, alluding to a cavalry officer rattling his saber in its scabbard to signal he was ready to draw the blade and attack. Modern context. Beyond the military, it is used frequently in politics, business, blah, 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 blah. Okay, historic and monarchical examples. Cold War and Russia. Frequent nuclear saber rattling involves leaders making public statements about their nuclear capabilities to warn rivals against intervention. Okay, so basically saber rattling. You see what that is now. So yeah, it says that is a major example of what Donald Trump is doing right now. Okay, so let me get a couple of scripts. Let me get a scripture or two on this. Then I'm gonna get some more after I let some things play. So let me go get this. Second, Ezra 6. Second Ezra 6:23, and the trumpet shall give a sound which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So you wonder why the men of the Lord, particularly men of GMF, is not afraid of this? Because we know that this has to happen. There's going to be a hedge of protection set around them. And for those that is not, because some may have to be martyred because the scripture does say that, then that's part of their fate, and they can't get around that anyway. So the Lord can put that on your mind, that even if you're going to have to go, you can go with a peace of mind and encourage. Stephen being a prime example of that in the book of Acts. Okay? So,
Yep, it's fate. Esau's running out of time. Most High's speeding this up.
okay. I wanted to see, I just was checking that and see if there was any more I wanted to put on that, but now let me go and get this and let these show. Let me go and get this. Let's start here, because I don't like using local news outlets because it's propaganda and is tilted to favor the U.S. So let's go here first.
War reports between between two adversaries could tip a geopolitical rift into a full-fledged war in the blink of an eye.
They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region.
A rapid buildup of military hardware on land and water is a posture built for more than just a signal, one that hasn't been seen since the 2003 invasion of Iraq.
We're either going to get a deal or...
Threat is the Israeli state and the West.
15 days, pretty much maximum.
Indirect talks this week resulted in little progress. The U.S. wants Iran to end its nuclear ambitions, but the regime appears to be fortifying sites damaged in 2025, which could come with the consequence that itself has an unclear objective.
We're sleepwalking into what could be a major campaign and a regional war without asking the right questions. Not only can the U.S. do it, but should the U.S. do it?
Iranians, despite protesting against their government last month, see diplomacy as critical, but don't appear to be fazed by threats. Let the regional and global powers test their strength and see who can defeat the other, this resident says.
With respect to Iran or any country around the world, diplomacy is always his first option.
The U.S. has given Iran 2 weeks to flesh out a proposal. It's unclear if Donald Trump will wait that out, resulting in a strike that could spark a fierce response.
Iran does have significant retaliatory capability. It could strike Israel, it could try to strike U.S. forces in the region, it could try to strike U.S. allies in the region.
If the lions swoop in, the Prime Minister said they can't imagine the reaction.
Fake-ass Jew.
Israeli forces have been...
He's not even Jew.
See, everybody in this box says, this is taking on a propaganda tilt toward the U.S. But nobody's mentioning in this one what Russia take is on all this. Russia has officially said that they are covering Iran. So nobody's looking at this from Russia's standpoint, but let's let this continue.
Heightened alert for weeks, making preparations for another possible war at the direction of an American president who has branded himself as a promoter of peace.
Okay, so you don't know that that's not true. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he just took Venezuela.
Now let's go.
He's feeling pretty good about it. Wanted to take Greenland not so long ago. Still does, by the way.
Introducing the score bet for Sunday, Monday, or any day that ends in Y. We're with you every... For the third time, Chinese surveillance satellites have caught the U.S. war fleet in plain view. But what's more alarming, Washington's closest allies are now being watched. Numerous U.S. warplanes captured by Chinese satellite camera, this time at Washington's Arab Ally Air Base in. U.S. Army hiding in plain sight, after Bahrain and Jordan base exposed, now MBS turf on radar. The Chinese satellite firm has made its third major revelation, coming at a time of heightened tensions between Iran and the United States. Satellite images released by China's Vision have exposed U.S. Air Force assets stationed at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. The imagery revealed a lineup of 13 KC-135 Stratotankers, 1 E-3G Sentry, and 5 C-130 Hercules aircraft at the facility. According to defense security sources, these aircraft appear strategically positioned for sustained regional operations. The presence of tanker and airborne systems at Prince Sultan indicates preparation for prolonged air operations across the Middle East. Analysts note that refueling and early warning aircraft are vital assets used to achieve and maintain air superiority in any major conflict. Prince Sultan Air Base is located near Riyadh. It sits safely outside immediate missile threat zones. It serves as the core hub for U.S. air power projection toward Iran. The base houses KC-135 Stratotanker clusters, enabling deep strike operations. It supports the E-3G Sentry, providing regional surveillance and command coordination. It allows long-duration fighter and bomber missions across the Middle East. C-130 Hercules aircraft stationed here ensure swift resupply and troop mobility. Its distance from Iranian missile range gives it a critical defensive advantage. The base is designed to sustain large-scale operations without relying on smaller forward bases.
And like everything else, though, here's another scenario. What about submarines? Okay, if you've played the game, like let's say PTO, which is an old game on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, you played the game. Submarines are able to go underwater. Who's to say that they're not there and can sink the CVs at any time? If the CVs are sunk, where are these planes going to go to? See, that's a whole other scenario, and I believe that these ships will get sunk in this upcoming battle, which I believe is going to be a major one, but that's also going to get everybody to march to the war. Because let's face it, they'll get the support and they'll want to march to war. You know, the people will back President Trump's ambitions to go to war with Iran because Iran did this, you know, in retaliation, that those ships got sunk and all those lives were lost. They'll support the war. Gas prices go to the roof, destroying the economy. It also does that. And then with a destroyed economy, you can impose the digital dollar, the digital wallet, a solution. Okay, you know, and then with everything else that's going on with ISIS, you know, and, you know, identifications, all about identifications, proving identity, etc., that everybody must have an identification device in them. You see, I've seen all the scenarios lining up towards this, you know, all at the same time. World War III getting closer, plus the MOTB coming just out of the next set of operations. So, like everything else, though, you know, the video is called America and Trump Sabering, Rattling into Jehoshaphat, which we know that Jehoshaphat means the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment, because that's what Shaphat means. So, we're seeing everything marching towards that. The return of Yahweh-Shai. Isn't this exciting that Yahweh-Shai is there? And also, it's undisclosed now about, even though they call them aliens, we know that aliens are in fact Israelites, you know, meaning foreign, something that they don't understand, because alien just means foreign. So, that indeed foreign entities are aboard these ships, you know, that are now confirmed by the president and by others. You know, even Obama had acknowledged that aliens are real and that the UFOs are real. You know, but like everything else, though, they still want you to believe that, okay, they're little green men, but they are in fact the angels of the Most High, because you have too many videos, as proven yesterday, too many videos out there showing that, okay, they were very dark skinned, you know, but they look just like African Americans. I mean, that was what one of them said. They look like African Americans, you know, but they were this tall and, you know, so obviously the angels have allowed Esau to see them just to report back. You see, like everything else, though, you know, it's well known that the angels are not women. They're not little babies with little wings, you know, Edomite babies with little wings, like you might have seen on the Van Halen album, etc. Those are false images of angels, but yet at the same time, though, angels of the Most High being Negroes, you know, having dark skin that look like African Americans, is what they're allowing to be seen. See, and this is all there to, you know, to tell us that, hey, you know, Yahweh Shai's coming back, and we're going to gather the elect. That's why you want to stay steadfast in this thing. Yes, a lot of the shit, a lot of things is going to weigh you down. And I'm going through shit. You're going through shit. We all have our crosses to bear, you know. And sometimes it seems like you're getting judgment, but yet at the same time, the Most High is chastising you, is giving you these challenges. So that way, when the hour of temptation comes, and it's coming, believe me, it's coming, you'll be ready. He's preparing you to get ready. You know, you're going to lose. You're going to lose everything. You know, I mean, you've already heard the leaders say you'll own nothing and be happy, right? So be prepared to lose. Be prepared to just pack up and leave. You know, and like everything else, though, you know, this is a time of sorrow. You know, it's of great sorrow. Just right before Yahweh Shai returns, we're going to be in great sorrow. Don't think that we're not. I definitely know that we're not going to be in great sorrow. I know we're going to be in great sorrow. And yet, the Passover is just a few weeks away. U.S. plans for possible strikes against Iran at an advanced stage with options including targeting individual leaders and pursuing regime change. Reuters reported on Friday citing unnamed American officials. So they're looking at full-blown regime change. They're looking at assassinating leaders as well. Well, we've seen what happened in 2020. You know, when Donald Trump assassinated their leader who was in Baghdad at the time, and Iran did respond. That's the first you've seen Iran respond, and there was nothing Trump could do about it. Because any retaliation against Iran for that would have escalated to even more destruction. See, Iran does have the capabilities to wipe out everything, if they want to. You know, the ball is really more in their court because Russia backs them. But that's not what they're going to tell you over here in Babylon. The plans are being drawn up in case ongoing negotiations on Iran's nuclear program fail to produce result. The Pentagon has been preparing for a sustained weeks-long operation targeting Iranian security and nuclear sites. One official said targeted strikes on senior commanders during Israeli 12-day air war last year against Iran has demonstrated the utility of such an approach. So, you know, I'm feeling pretty good that, okay, yeah, the Israeli state killed a lot of commanders. But I also see that Iran had new commanders already ready in place. So it really didn't do anything or prove anything. They already, you know, Ayatollah Khamenei was quick on that shit while responding to everything. And next thing you know, you got new leaders of Iran. Arghashi is even stronger than the previous one, you know. So, you know, you could do that all you want to. And they did kill the president of Iran. The helicopter crash was no coincidence. That definitely was an assassination, a Mossad operation. Just like Epstein was a Mossad spy, you know, and you can see that, you know, Babylon the Great is blackmailed by the Israeli state with those cameras. You know, it's more than obvious that Donald Trump is guilty of a lot of shit, but we'll never see that as long as he does what King Baby tells him to. Fort carrier groups enters Mediterranean to join biggest U.S. build-up since the 2003 Iraq War. This is the second carrier strike group expected to soon operate directly in CENTCOM area of responsibility and massive military build-up and pressure campaign against Iran. It was sent from the Caribbean earlier this month, extending its planned deployment. And like I said before, a submarine torpedoes can sink a aircraft carrier easier. Now we know that Esau definitely sends destroyers there, but I believe that there's newer and more sophisticated submarines that will not be detected by destroyers so easily. Of course the destroyers are going to safeguard their aircraft carriers. I mean, only an idiot would not safeguard them. But like everything else, those submarines are much more sneakier and can sink them. But not to mention, they even have surface-to-air missiles that could also hit aircraft carriers as well. And they would sustain a lot of damage. And they could also destroy destroyers. Destroyers are not even as strong as battleships. Battleships can also destroy them. Remember, Iran also has the greatest navy in that region. So it's very easy to deploy ships as well. Again, if you ever played PTO, which is like a World War II game made by Koei on Super Nintendo and Sega, then you would already see the scenario there. Yeah, you don't send that many CVs without protecting them. And even so, a destroyer is not going to really protect them very much. There's going to be a lot of losses in this, just looking at it from that alone. There's going to be a lot of losses, and that'll probably gear up the support for the war. They'll support the war like they did with Iraq. They're going to treat Iran like it's Iraq. Oh, you know, even though they'll hit hard, they'll treat it like Iraq. U.S. evacuates hundreds of troops from Qatar, Bahrain, amid Iran tensions. So like everything else, though, they're already doing early evacuations. You know, thinking that, okay, well, they'll hit these things, but, you know, like everything else, so, you know, we're protecting the troops, we're doing everything we can. So that way when their CVs are sunk and, you know, everything's destroyed and the planes have nothing to land to, and they suffered immense loss, it'll look like they were doing everything they can. Hundreds of U.S. terrorists have been pulled out of the Al-Udeid air base in Qatar. American terrorists remain stationed at bases in Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates, Withdrawal is being interpreted as a precautionary measure amid rising tensions about possible U.S. attack against Iran, with Tehran expected to respond by striking American terrorists in the region. So, like everything else, though, a letter Thursday at the UN Secretary General, the head of Iran's mission to the UN, said if Iran were attacked, then all bases, facilities, and assets of the hostile force in the region would constitute legitimate targets, and the U.S. would bear full and direct responsibility for any unpredictable and uncontrolled consequences. Al-Udeid is the largest U.S. military base in West Asia, hosting 10,000 terrorists, because that's what they are. Esau's a goddamn terrorist. Can't tell yet? Well, hey, something's definitely closed your eyes, because you see that all he does is terrorize. He terrorizes his own citizens, you know. Say that you fall into fucking poverty. Oh boy, has Trump come down. You know, this yuppie motherfucker, you know, has come down on anybody who's fucking poor. Whether you be an Israelite or a fucking Edomite. He's come down really hard against you fucking poor. He fucking hates every fucking last one of you. And he'll send ISIS in there to get rid of you too. Yeah, ISIS works for the Department of War. It's not even the Department of Defense anymore. The Department of War. He's declared war on anybody who's not rich. He only cares about the rich. You know, it's always been about the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But you dumbass motherfuckers who voted for him can't even see that. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't give a fuck about farmers. He doesn't give a fuck about anything. Yet, you retards fucking vote for him. You want to be a MAGA. Everybody wants to be a MAGA. You know, everybody wants everything to go back the way it is. Oh, tell me about the good old days, you know, when, you know, everything was prosperous. You dumbasses fucking voted him in again, even though he failed you the first time. And he's definitely failing you now. He can't even keep the fucking government open. He's such a fucking retard that his fucking tariffs have caused you more economic woes than anything else. But like everything else, though, you retards, you're finding out that he doesn't give a fuck about you, and he's going to escalate this war, and a lot of people are going to get killed in this war. U.S. says 15,000 to 20,000 escapees remain at large from Syrian ISIS camp. Well, isn't that the plan? Because like everything else, though, they wanted a transitional government, so they created this proxy called ISIS to take over Syria. The same terrorists that are in your cities, like Minneapolis. I know that's died down a little bit, but these same terrorists, because you gotta remember, these masked motherfuckers are your fucking Edomites claiming to be Ishmael, but they're not. Jihad John. John is not an Arabic name. John is a Babylonian name. It's an American name. Jihad John, a real American terrorist, is in fact what it is. American terrorist posing as Islamic terrorists. You know, the whole thing is a hoax. But you dumbasses, you believe it. So like everything else, ICE and ISIS are the same terrorists. You know, government downplayed the issue, blaming the escapees on Kurdish security weakness and claimed to have recaptured that almost immediately. U.S. intelligence assessments, however, yes, it wasn't the case. 15,000. Yeah. ISIS, all of a sudden, is free, running all over Syria. You know, but who controls ISIS? It's always been a Mossad operation. You know, and this caliphate and all the other shit was all part of it. But see, there we go. This camp was one of several that, after the defeat of ISIS, they never defeated ISIS, they were just keeping it there. But things that make you go, right? Was being used as a more or less permanent holding facility for people any ties to the former caliphate. Massive numbers of non-fighters being held on a permanent basis, including those suspected of being family members of ISIS. Well, they're in Minneapolis. They're everywhere, you know, because it's Edomites posing as, and then you got mercenaries everywhere. You could exploit that. Mossad exploits everything, just like they have cameras all on these fucking leaders. They exploit everything. So, like everything else, though, you can see how this blood spill is everywhere. You know, they want a transitional government. Well, they got ISIS really eating it. But, hey, you know, we're seeing this happen in real time. Joel chapter 3, verse 9, proclaim this among the nations, prepare for holy war, call out the wars, let all the fighting men approach and attack. Now, I know I read this yesterday, but, you know, we see that this valley of Jehoshaphat, it's happening now. Let all the nations be roused and let them go up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit in judgment on all the surrounding nations. So, like everything else, though, you know, I got one more here before I close this out. You know, as this war gets near, well, eventually we're going to have the everlasting joy. See, like everything else, though, Esau Edom's coming to an end, but yet this everlasting kingdom, it's also coming. So hopefully this has all been edifying. For that I want to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh, Law above the ball. Brakatham Jehovah elect, and I'm just going to close this out with everlasting joy, because that's the new heaven and new earth coming.
Get straight into it, man. It's going to be called Everlasting Joy. Play this clip, then we get some scriptures, man. Lord, will this be encouraging, faith boosting, to lift brothers up, spirits up. Shalom.
And we know the scriptures say we shall prophesy in part, and we shall know in part. But then when he that is come, we shall know all things in full. I'm not quoting verbatim. But pretty much when Yahweh shall return on the earth, all the secrets of the universe, we gonna know all that. You know, when the Heavenly Father changes us. Like I was telling the brothers when we was at camp, our lives that we experience right now, the very little life that we live in right now, this very moment, is a small dust in the eyes of the Father. It's a small speck in the eyes of our existence. Man, we finna live, bro. Hey, man, how about my shot, man? Give us life. Jake finna live, man.
Fear not, evil flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord, and I joyful in my God.
Yeah, man. So like I said, it's encouraging. You know what I'm saying? The brother, the other ICR in North Carolina, and he be uploading these videos, these edits, especially now with AI going crazy. You know, the other ICR in North Carolina, as well as the upper brother, not the upper young in San Francisco. And I also got some precepts. And everlasting, looked up everlasting joy. All right, so this is Isaiah 35:10. It says, "And the ransom of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away." So again, this is a quick video. You know what I'm saying? Hey, comfort, hey man, how brothers endure. You see the situation going on with Iran. You're sitting with America versus Iran. The release of the flight, which I got a lesson coming a little tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do it today, but to say that I was out, if I was fucking work 12 hours today, and then I've been sipping. You know what I'm saying? But I'll low on it tomorrow. I'm gonna go do that lesson while I'm sober and shit. I'll do that lesson. Going into bring out the details about Iran. Got some video clips on the play. You know what I'm saying? You got the state of Israel, and they're putting that pressure on America, man. All right, talking about looking at we need to deal with Iran, and if you don't get it done with them de-arming their nukes or whatever the proper term is, denuclearizing Iran, and we just gonna strike them, man. We're just going to the prophecy of release of flight, drawing them out, man. So we see things happen. The Lord can days. Now we know sometimes the Lord had these things stir up and get hot and then cool down, but hey, we never know. The Lord can really have this shit pop off, man. It takes just a small thing for things to get drastic, man. You know what I'm saying? For things to pop off, and we know these Epstein files. You know, the Lord got the spirit on, got the pressure on Esau now. He'll have to cause a distraction. Well, now you can't worry about the Epstein files, so we got World War III going on. So then we'll see what happens. But again, man, the ransom of the Lord's gonna buy us back, right? And return, and it says shall return and come to Zion, we'll get our land back, okay, which is currently ruled by them imposters. It says with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. That's the title of the lesson, man. Everlasting joy. You think about any time you had that was a good time. I think about what Kazak said when he had the quote that was stuck with me. Is I'm gonna get this precept real well. Psalms 84:10. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I had rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. Let me read this in NLT. A single day in your courts is better than 1,000 anywhere else. I would rather be a gatekeeper in the house of my God than live the good life in the homes of the wicked, right? It's like if you hear something in the background, my cat fucking moving around and shit. But like I said again, I'll read this again. Psalms 84:10 in NLT. A single day in your court is better than 1,000 anywhere else. So again, quoting Elder Kazaka, Mississippi, man, your best day in Babylon, any day you can look at and say that was a good day, or whatever happened, or you know what I'm saying, whatever type of glory was awarded to you, whatever, whatever was just, you think back, man, you think back inside, man, that was a good day. You know what I'm saying? But the kingdom is better than, a single day of the kingdom is better than 1,000 of those days, man. Alright? The Lord got life prepared for it. Like the elder said, not talking about young, I said it in the video, man, he said, man, Jake finna live, but the Lord getting ready to give us life, man. They say in Colossians, man, our lives are healed with Yahweh Shai, man. Right? The Lord's come to give us life. He said, I would rather be a gatekeeper in the house of my God than live the good life in the homes of the wicked. We see that, man. You take the homes of the wicked. You see Edomites winning on this side. You see certain of these sellout niggas who have certain things and the carnal riches. All right? Esau got our women. Our women is a fucking worship. Esau eat them. You know what I'm saying? They're completely against it. It was like, man, hey, they let them have this, man. Because some of my favorite verses, 2 Edges 8:1. This Most High made this world for many, but the world to come for few. So going back to these verses, man, everlasting joy. It says Isaiah 35:10, ending it off. It says they shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. So the Lord's going to take away all our sighing and sorrow, man. Really, we ain't going to be depressed, man. When the kingdom, Lord, of course, He's going to give us all the abundance and things that Jacob, let's hear say, Lord will give us our heart's desire. Was it Psalm 37? Delight thyself also in the Lord, He should give thee the desires of thine heart. But also, he's not just going to take us from this traumatized state and then give us a kingdom. No, the Lord's going to heal our trauma. He's going to heal our wounds, man, our mental wounds, spiritual, physical, and mental, right? Isaiah 51:11. Therefore, the redeemed of the Lord shall return and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. It sounds very similar to Isaiah 35, but again, we're reading these verses, man. There's there's 5 results, 5 verses, so I'm just going to read all of them. Isaiah 61:7. For your shame is, which is a lot of these chapters, you can read the whole thing, like especially Isaiah 35 and Isaiah 61, you read them whole chapters. Brute 4 towards the end, you read them whole chapters, and it's good. But again, I'm just getting the points, man. Everlasting joy. Right? For your shame, you should have double. For all the shame we had, as Israelite men on the bottom, you can have double the amount of glory, man. Alright? So all the wickedness and all the evil people speak against us, our own women, the heathen, and it's okay, man. Let them have it, because in the kingdom, they're going to be ashamed, man. When the whole world is forced to acknowledge that we are the sons of God. We're the chosen. So our women talking shit, our women being against us, they let them have it, man. The kingdom, they're going to be ashamed, man. They're going to be ashamed to them. Right? For your shame they shall double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. Like I said, I think about days in the world, whatever you may have had, had a good situation with Eve, or like I said, whatever was going on, sports, whatever it was. I think back to certain sunny days as a kid, days where you just had no worries, man. You had no worries, man. You had genuine joy. The sun was shining different back then. You know what I'm saying? The everlasting joy. But in the kingdom, we're going to experience everlasting joy. It's going to be real joy, and it's going to be beyond anything that was on this side, man. The happiness the world's going to fill us with, man. We're going to be happy. We're going to be crying tears of joy, bro. All right? Especially going from this lower state, going from this hell, man. When we see what the Lord gives us, man, we're literally going to be crying tears of joy, man. All right? I think back to the elder brother Palau in the main camp. He had that vision of the kingdom, he had as a heavy vision some years ago, like 4 years ago, And literally he was saying that, brother, he had a vision basically in the kingdom, and all the Israelites being on one accord, being in the golden city. It was shining, and he literally said, he was like, bro, he said the feeling of happiness, he said he couldn't even put it into words. Like, he could feel the spirits of other Israelites, like we were all connected. And he said it was just the spirit of peace and happiness was just so overwhelming, he couldn't even put it into words, man. That's one of my favorite videos, my top 10 to this day, just comforting videos I watch whenever I get down, man. The Lord's getting ready to save us, man. The Lord see this shit, man. The Lord see this again. We know everything was predestined to happen. You know what I'm saying? All the Israelites' captivities and stuff. But the Lord is looking down upon this place. Like we read in Exodus, where it said the Lord looked down upon the children of Israel. Okay, and he had pity upon them. If you paraphrase it, same thing in Judges when it tells you, okay, he had. Let me get this one in Judges, man. Judges, I think it's 10. Real quick, so it's not gonna be long. The Lord must be edifying, man. 10. This is Judges 10 and verse 15. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, we have sinned. Do thou unto us whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray thee, this day. And they put away the strange gods from among them and served Yahweh. And his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel. You see, so again, we're in that same position again, where the Lord has awakened the remnant. He put the spirit on them to turn back to him and to put away the idols and to cast off this world, to seek after righteousness and seek after his judgments. And now the Lord is grieved watching Jake suffer down here, man. Jake see the tears, the anguish, the genuine pain, and the genuine cause for the Lord to deliver us. And the Lord's getting ready to deliver us, man. All right, he's getting ready to do that. So again, he's coming to give us everlasting joy, man. All right. Verse Sirach 2 and 9. Yea, that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. You see, so we're going to have everlasting joy, man. Really, ain't going to be no stop to it. We're just always going to be in a good mood, man. You got to imagine, like, bro, that always being in a good mood. You think about how all Israelites are going to be on one accord. We're constantly going to be blessing each other with this. Here, brother, take this. Like, I got this for you, brother. We're finally going to be we're finally going to experience. We really, real talk. You know, brothers always talk about, certain times in the ancient world, but look, we never had a good relationship with the Israelite woman. The Israelite woman never really belonged to us. We're finally going to actually get the Israelite woman in her right mind. Lord's going to really change her spirit to be 100% in order, man. To be 100% just to worship and adore and love the Israelite man. That's going to be a beautiful thing. To finally have true families, man. To finally have the Israelite woman 100% with us, man. 100%. She's not going to have any type of ill thoughts or dealings towards us, man. That's going to be a beautiful thing, man. The Lord even said that's one of the things that he takes joy in, looking down upon the earth, a man and a woman that agree together. All right, so our women are finally going to be on our vibration. They're finally going to look at the sons of God for what we are as the sons of God, man. There ain't going to be no more contention and heartache dealing with them. All right, so it says, yeah, fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. So this is what we should be hoping in. This is really in the scripture. We really should be hoping for this. All right. We fear the Lord, and we want the Lord to bring the kingdom, man. All right? Luke 4:29, for he that brought these plagues upon you, right, put us in slavery, put us all these multiple slaveries, got us these corruptible bodies, like I said, the curses, all this, the heathen is destroying us, right? For he that brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation, man. So that's the point, man. Everlasting joy. As a title of this lesson, Lord willing, everlasting joy is coming, man. We're getting ready to get the kingdom. The Lord's getting ready to wipe away our tears and our pain. But one more verse. Verse right now I'm going. Revelation 21 and verse 4. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. Right? We're literally going to be immortal. Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away, man. That's heavy, bro. All right, because this is literally going to happen. This is 100% guaranteed, man. No one can stop this, man. No matter what Esau, everything Esau is about to try to do will not stop the blessings coming to the elect, and then after that, the rest of the Israelites, man. How about Shai swore and promised? He swore himself, man. All right. How will he say, I put that on me, that I'm gonna do this for you? You see? So again, we get ready to get our inheritance, man. That promise that we've been waiting for. That's why my channel is GMS seed of the promise, man. That seed of we're the seed of the promise, man. That promise is getting ready to come to that chosen seed, man. Okay, how about Shai getting ready to? Sorry, let me check this fucking cat. We're getting ready to deliver us, and we would have no more sorrow, no more pain. Okay, that's it. Everything's just gonna go in our favor, man. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. All right, to experience, and we're getting ready to experience it, man. You brothers out there who are doing the work, you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with demons, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with XYZ. Hey, man, continue to endure, because the Lord got something, man, extravagant. It's gonna bring the Lord happiness to do this for us, man. Because again, as it was part of the Lord's story for us to fall, it's part of the Lord's story for us to rise and to get that everlasting joy, man. The Lord don't. We read the scriptures like I'm reading right now. The Lord doesn't plan to just keep us in misery forever. We just suffering and losing, and it's just crying and sighing. Like, the Lord is going to get us the fuck out of here, man. The Lord can't wait to see our frown, the world, and then that same, so your frown get turned upside down. Like, the Lord is looking forward to doing that. Like, look, y'all done been through hell, I done put y'all through hell, but now I'm gonna put you through heaven. Like, literally, I'm gonna show you, like, the same way these curses was on us, the same way the blessings gonna be upon us. It's gonna be here. Like, Lord, look at this. Lord, look at this. Look what I got for you here. Look what I got for you here. It's just gonna be overwhelming how much blessings. Scripture talks about things in Isaiah. It talks about, I'm about to wrap up. It talks about how the Lord pour out a blessing. We're gonna have no space for it. Like, but we're gonna have Isaiah 65 talks about before, while we are yet speaking, He will answer. Like, before they call. Right, so before we can even answer, man, before we can even pray for something, the Lord is going to give it to us. That's the spirit, because again, the Elder Brother Palau, he said that in his vision was like that. He said before he was going to ask for something, before he can even ask for it, the Lord just gave it to him, man. That's really how it's going to be in the kingdom. It's not just all about the physical stuff, but we are looking forward to it, because we've had to, for all these 1,000 years, have to watch the Lord pour upon these blessings of these heathens. They got everything. They got their families in order. They got. Obviously not now because they're fallen, but for the longest time they had their families in order. They had all the wealth, they had all the access, the resources. They were taken care of, man. But we were suffering, you know what I'm saying, in slavery. Just being destroyed. So now we're going to be on top and they're going to be on the bottom, man. And there's more precepts I can grab. I can be here all day, but Lord willing is edifying, faith boosting, man. We Lord getting ready to give us life, like the brother said in the beginning, man. So with that, call Lord and Lai, how about Shemel Shabbat Shem Kakadash, Devon Sapos Elder Millstone. Shalom to Hopeful Legend, Bible Ball, Kwame Sharala, Shalom.